Hello everybody and welcome to another video on the Retro Brown channel. Today we're in Johto with Skiploom, doing a purely Skiploom solo run. I'm kind of scared for this one because we've done the Jumpluff run already and it took quite a while, and that's for a couple of reasons. Pretty much Skiploom, Jumpluff, the Hop-Hip line, their movesets are tailored more towards stalling and chipping tactics. Jumpluff was really good, but also because it was the final evolution of this line, it had a bigger base stat total to work with. We have about half of that, well not about half of that, we've got probably about 100 less base stat total points to work with. So this is going to be interesting to see how this actually goes. We're going to name our Skiploom Skippy for this run, and then we'll get on with actually trying to beat this game. No, I was actually going to go for like Skip 2 Myloom, but we don't have enough characters, so we're just going to go with Skippy. There's a big positive about actually starting off with a middle stage or a first stage evolution. That usually is that you learn moves faster, but I'm not really too sure that's definitely going to be the greatest asset for our run. Yes, these Pokemon are actually pretty damn good. I actually never realised how good this evolution line was, but it also means that we have to rely on stall tactics, and as you can see here, Tackle doesn't do very much. Synthesis is there if we really need to get our HP back, and we can win battles quite comfortably. It just takes a while because we're trying to chip away instead of just one-shotting damage. So for today's rival, we are going to go with Lasts, and that's because Last's channel is one of my most recent subscribers. Some fantastic Pokemon videos on there, and I do recommend you go and check it out. So let's move on to Falconer's Gym, and we can't even get past the Spearow trainer at level 9, so we have to go to Sprout Tower, and that means that it's time for a bit of training. We're at level 10 when we go into Sprout Tower, and we're going to be considerably higher before we even return to Falconer's Gym, because we do not have the type advantage here, and we only have Tackle to work with until maybe level 13, where we can actually use Poison Powder and deal out another type of damage. Yeah, we don't really get many attacking moves as this evolution line. Headbutt is locked behind Azalea Town, Giga Drain is locked in Kanto, Solar Beam, I don't know where it is off the top of my head. Snore, not really the greatest move, and we have Headbutt. So yeah, in terms of level up, we get Mega Drain, but that's all the way at level 36. So we really only have Tackle to work with for quite a long time in this run, and that's not great. We really want to get to level 17 as soon as possible because we get Sleep Powder, and then we really want to get to level 22 as quick as possible because we get the move Leech Seed. And going against the Sages, again, it's not that these are hard fights. It is just the fact that we don't deal out much damage, and we have to rely on our own moves to either increase the amount of damage we can do by reducing their defenses, or we have to poison them. We have to use a lot of utility moves to actually make this run viable. And even though it's not a hard run, because you're using so many turns in battle, the amount of time that this takes just starts racking up considerably. It's really very tedious when you want to go as fast as you can. Like Skiploom, even though it has great base speed, is actually not a fast Pokemon to do a solo run with. Anyway, let's have a go against Falconer and see how we do. We have Synthesis, which is a great move to start off with, meaning that we can keep our HP up and we can let the poison damage do its deal. We can beat Falconer on the first time, but we had to have Poison Power to make it viable. We can pick up Mud Slap, which of course is completely useless to us, and we're going to move on to the Slowpoke Well. Now, we have a type disadvantage against Poison type Pokemon, and there's quite a lot in Johto, especially with the Rocket Side Quest, which means we've got a very big weakness. We're actually weak to quite a lot of things. We're weak to electric type attacks, we're quad weak to ice, we're weak to poison, we're weak to bug, we're weak to fire. There are so many things that we are actually weak to that make this run even harder. And I'm really surprised of how good this Pokemon is despite all of those weaknesses. And I feel like it really just comes down purely to how good that base speed is and the fact you get a lot of utility moves to set up with. So once you can get Pokemon to sleep, the fight becomes pretty easy. It just takes a while to get through. We can't poison Kakuna, so we're going to put it to sleep and then tackle our way through because we don't want it to set up Hardens and run out of tackle PP. Cypher's next, and the worst thing it can do is Get all of those Fury Cutters up. We can synthesize to get our HP back and then tackle while it's asleep. And Fury Cutter is scary. We are very weak to it, and of course it accumulates damage every single hit. And considering we take a lot of hits in fights and deal out a lot of hits in fights as well, he's going to get them turns to set up, which is not good. On our second try though, we actually get a bit of better luck. We managed to hit the sleeps at the right time. We hit our tackles and he doesn't really recover any HP. But I actually run out of tackle PP. I have to put the Cypher to sleep, synthesize back up to full HP, and then it's a battle of how quickly he can take me out or whether the poison works more. We then learn Leech Seed so we can get rid of Poison Powder, and Leech Seed is much more favourable than having Poison Powder on our moveset, because it's the only way we're going to be able to hit Ghost type Pokemon with this moveset. Yeah, if we had Mega Drain we actually could hit them, but we don't get that to level 36, and I don't really fancy getting to level 36 before beating last here in Azalea Town. It's really kind of annoying. And of course we need to make sure we keep our HP up. We Leech Seed and synthesize to keep at top of our HP and tackle when possible. Sleep is probably the only reason this run is actually viable, because sleep is broken. We all know this. We can beat the rival first time. We move on to Whitney, and you know what? We actually get a Whitney first time win here. Once we get the sleep and the Leech Seed set up, it's pretty much just a matter of time until we can actually take down both a Pokemon. And of course I don't want to get rid of all my Headbutt PP against this Clefairy, so I'm just going to let the Leech Seed do its work, keep it asleep. We've kept our HP up, we get the Miltank asleep as well, and now we can Headbutt our way through to the fight. We pick up the Plane Badge, and now we're on to probably the more tedious part of this entire run. But before that we're going to go against Lastover in the Burnt Tower, because I want to show you why we have to rely on Leech Seed. We don't have any moves that can hit a Haunter. We have to rely on Leech Seed, and it takes a lot of turns to work. We don't need Cotton Spore because we're already a really fast Pokemon. We need to keep that Quilava asleep, otherwise its Fire type moves will do massive damage. And even here, Magnemite is just going to be a problem because Electric type moves are super effective against us. Literally everything in Johto is stacked against the Hoppip line. Everything is stacked against it, and yet it still manages to be a good Pokemon. I mean, it's nowhere near as good as Jumpluff, but yeah, this is all we have to work with. And even when it comes to Morty, a lot of RNG luck is going to come into this as well. We need to stall out with Leech Life, and he's got 4 Ghost-type Pokemon. And we need to keep them asleep. Yeah, it's just going to become an absolute nightmare. We can keep synthesizing our HP back up, and that's pretty much how we're going to be able to get through this. We need to keep his Pokemon asleep so we can keep our HP up. And yeah, this Gengar is just... It took a while, but we managed to beat this Gengar. Haunter is finally out, the last Pokemon left. We get it to sleep, Leech Seed hits, and that is how we beat Morty. It takes a while. This is why I've sped up this footage to about 300 times speed, because this took about 5 minutes just this battle on its own. Once we've beaten Morty, we can move over to Cyanwood, and we've actually got a much easier type matchup to deal with here. I reckon Skiploom would be a lot easier if it could learn a flying move or two, but there's not really too many flying moves that we can utilise. I mean, there's actually no flying type moves that we can utilise as a Skiploom, even though we've got a stab bonus on it. It's really annoying, but with Headbutt as our main move, we can actually deal out some damage. Headbutt's not the greatest of moves, I would say Return is arguably better, but in this mid-game here, having that chance to flinch is very crucial. We can get the Poliwrath asleep, Leech Seed, and he... yeah, I forget that Chuck has full heals, which is really annoying, but at the same time he's wasting his turn, and we can just Headbutt to our leisure. Pretty much all of these fights I'm speeding up to about 200 to 300 times speed, because they just take so long. Magnemite is a really big problem here because now it's got the Steel typing. It has a resistance to Headbutt. We're not going to teach Mega Drain here because arguably... Oh god, we lose here. Yeah, out of the two, Synthesis or Mega Drain, Synthesis recovers more HP. Yes, it means that we've now got 3 utility moves and can only rely on Headbutt for dealing out big damage. I mean, we're going to try Mega Drain here, but I don't feel like it's going to be the right strategy. So yeah, it's really not doing much at all. We have got really bad special attack and we don't have growth to be able to get our special attack up. So yeah, we do manage to win this fight, barely really. It's a lot of back and forth, a lot of turns wasted. And yeah, we do actually manage to beat her. But yeah, I feel like Synthesis is the better move to go with. So I actually did go back and reset before that. Got Synthesis back on my moveset and then moved on and actually beat her again. But what I showed you there was the first time we beat Jasmine. It was just a really difficult battle. The Rocket side quest is really tedious because they have a lot of poison type Pokemon. And you know what? Price is actually a big, really difficult in this run. So Price has actually got Ice Water Pokemon, which is good because Mega Drain works here. But then the Piloswine, if he hits one Blizzard, we pretty much lose. It's quad effective to us, and that's not a good position to be in. So that's when I reset and actually went all the way back to Jasmine to beat her again. And this time we do have Synthesis, which honestly worked out a lot better for us. We Leech Seed, Synthesize, get our HP back, and then we Headbutt the Dugong. This is pretty much the whole strategy that we have. It's all we really have to work with, because even though it looks like we've got a lot of moves, it's really quite shallow and not very varied at all. I mean, look at that. We've got a lot of grass type moves, but they're all utility moves apart from Mega Drain. We can learn Giga Drain over in Kanto, but at the same time, yeah, it's locked in Kanto, only has 5 PP and not the greatest power. Next time we go against Last here, we are having a big problem. Golbat confuses us, Wing Attack does big damage, we can't get it to sleep, and we actually fall on the first attempt. The next attempt, however, we get the luck we need, we hit the sleep powders, we even though we hit ourselves in confusion a couple of times, we keep up our HP, and even against a Flame Wheel, we are managed to tank it, but we are, 15 levels above most of the team? Yeah, it's really difficult. And Paralysis does not help this either. Sonic Boom on the Magnemite is really annoying. The fact it's Steel type resisting Headbutt is really annoying. And against the Haunter as well, we start a lot of back and forth where we have to keep our HP up. Hopefully we're not fully paralysed and let Leech Seed do its work. Last up is the Sneasel. And of course, a couple of turns is more than enough to take it down. So Lasts, unfortunately this time we win. We've got one more fight against you and we'll see you at that one. Last up is Claire in the Gym Leader Challenge. And I'm worried about this one because her Pokemon like to use Thunder Wave. And they've got Surf, they've got really powerful moves really. But because we outspeed, we get the chance to do what we need to do. Dragonairs go down pretty quickly when you've got Return on your moveset. It's a very powerful move when your friendship is high. Leech Seed does big damage. Return will just take out the Kingdra too, so we didn't even put it into healing range. We get the 8th badge and we can move on to the Elite Four to our final fight against Last. So, we've leveled up considerably since the last time we went against Last. And this time she starts off with a Sneasel. We can Leech Seed, Sleep Powder, and we've had this exact same strategy since pretty much over in Azalea Town. It's all we really have to work with, like I've been saying. And we really don't want the Typhlosion to hit us. It wakes up, uses Flame Wheel, and it does a lot less than I thought it would. So we're going to Synthesize, get our HP back up to full, because we've got a couple more Pokemon coming up that I'm quite scared for. Magnuson being one of them. As long as we can keep it asleep, we should be okay. Return's doing decent damage. And finally, a Leech Seed takes it out. We don't get paralyzed this time round. Sleep Powder hits the Haunter. Leech Seed then... we're back to stalling it out with Leech Seed. This is going to be annoying. Okay. At what point does it wake up? Yeah, it uses Confusion. We managed to put it back to sleep. Leech Seed is still doing its work. And we actually take the Haunter down without little issue whatsoever. Return takes out the Kadabra. And we beat Last for the last time. Meaning we're on to the Elite Four. And the Elite Four is very scary. They've got powerful moves. And as long as... we've only really got a chance as long as we get these Pokemon to sleep. That's pretty much the only chance we have. So, Yeah, Xatu is doing massive amounts of damage. Jinx is very scary with being an Ice-type Pokemon. Hits us with Ice Punch, yep, we're dead. So that means we need to try something different. Well, I say try something different. We don't have much to work with. We just gotta hope Sleep hits, Returns hit, and the Xatu. That's 2 Xatus down. Executor is next, and to be fair, now I think we've got our win that we need here. So this only took 2 attempts to get to, and even with the Slowbro, we Leech Seed it just to chip away its HP, and it doesn't matter whether it uses Psychic or not, we can get it back to sleep and return it down into the ground. So we've beaten Will, and that brings us on to Koga. Now, I'm a little bit scared for Koga as well, because he likes to induce poison. And he's got a lot of poison Pokemon, so yeah, we're not really looking in the best position considering we're weak to poison. We do outspeed everything pretty much though, even the Crobat. So as long as we can keep things asleep, we can deal a bit of damage out and chip away at them. That's all we've really got to work with. Venomoth is next, get it to sleep, and it's going to take 2 returns to take out that Venomoth. Fortress is last, and the thing I'm worried about here is that move right there, Explosion. It's a one-shot on us. So yeah, we've got to... I think we're going to have to hope this Fortress just doesn't use it on us. Otherwise, there's no way we can get past this because it is a one-shot no matter what. Yeah, it's not a great position to be in. And this is genuinely the first time I've ever taken a Skiploom all the way to the Elite Four. If I've ever used a Jumpluff before, it involves pretty damn early on, so we don't really have to worry too much. We need to keep this Fortress asleep here and just start chipping away with it with Return. It uses Protect, which is really annoying. And there we go, we beat Koga. This time it didn't use Explosion, and that's the difference. I'm really speeding these battles up because, yeah, they just take ages with this strategy. And it's why the video is a lot slower than a lot quicker than the Jumpluff video was that you saw a few weeks ago. It's because I realised how long the battles were taking. I didn't want to make you sit through a 40-50 minute video just watching Skiploom. So I've pretty much sped up every single fight in this entire run just so you can see it. Because the strategy doesn't really change. This is what we've got to work with to get through. We beat Bruno first time and move on to Karen. Karen is always a difficult one because she's got that Houndoom. And the Houndoom is very powerful with its Flamethrower, which we're weak to. And of course after that she's got a Gengar, which we're going to have to stall out with Leech Seed strats. Flamethrower doesn't take us out in one, meaning we can get our Leech Seed out and we can synthesize back up to full HP. Return then takes it out after 2 hits, but we do get hit by another Flamethrower, and yeah, we lose this attempt. Sleep Powder, Leech Seed, Return. This is our strategy, and it's all we got to work with. It is a very powerful strategy, don't get me wrong. It's just kind of boring when you're doing this on every single fight for the entire run, and it takes ages to get through any fight. We need to keep that Houndoom asleep. It is ridiculous how many times they wake up on the first turn on this run. Genuinely, I think I've never had such bad luck with status effects on this run as any of my other Johto videos. Pretty much every single fight I had some sort of status effect inflicted on us, and it was only when we didn't get them that I actually managed to get through the fights. And I don't use held items on these runs. Okay, you might have just seen that there. The Gengar used Destiny Bond, but it was Leech Seed damage that took it out. So when it fell, it lost to Leech Seed damage, meaning that it actually didn't take us with it, because that could have actually been the end of our attempt there. And that's interesting because I've never noticed that before. Okay, let's move on to Lance, the champion of the Johto League, and a very scary trainer for a Skiploom. Yeah. I'm actually really impressed at what level we are up until this stage. I mean, we need to make sure we don't get hit by a Blizzard or we'll just lose in one. But yeah, we aren't even hitting level 60 and we're doing okay here. This is what I mean by these strategies actually do work. They just take a long time to do, but it means you can actually get a very good level on your finish time for this. Dragonite is out next. We do hit the Sleep Powder this time. We hit the Leech Seed. And we're in a good position now. Return does big damage. Well, not really. This is why we need Leech Seed. Just that chip damage really helps us out. Aerodactyl is next. And if we get hit by any type of rock move like Rock Slide, it's going to take off around about half damage. We need to get our HP back up. We need to let Leech Seed do its work. It wakes up again. This is what I mean. They wake up so easily on this run compared to other runs I've done. I don't understand what was different. Like, they were waking up pretty much every single time on the first turn. What we don't want to wake up is this Charizard, because that flamethrower will take us out in one. Its special attack is ridiculous. And it hits a flamethrower. We tank on 26. Get it back to sleep. Oh my word, that was close. We get our HP back up with Synthesis. This is why I wanted it over Mega Drain. And we're on to the final two Dragonites. Sleep Powder hits. And this is the level 51. So he uses full restore to get rid of the sleep. But we're using our Leech Seed to chip away at his HP. He goes for Outrage, which does hit. We get it back to sleep. And I'm just going to let Leech Seed do a bit more to get our HP back for the final Dragonite. If I'm right, this is the Thunder Dragonite, which he probably will go for if he gets a chance to attack. Return does decent damage. Honestly, I don't know what we would have done on this run if we did not get Leech Seed. And there we go. Skiploom has beaten the Elite Four at level 59. And there we go. Skiploom has become the Pokemon League champion at level 59. Pretty good. Pretty good, that, I think. So let's move on and see what time we finished on. And don't get too impressed by this. Level 59 is probably the most impressive thing about this, but the end time, not very impressive whatsoever. We finished at 8 hours and 50 minutes. It's really quite bad. But those fights just took so long. I can't stress how long they took. Anyway, let's move on to Kanto and see how we do against Blue first. So, we're level 66 going into this fight, and he has a lot of Pokemon which are tailored to beating our Pokemon. We got to make sure we outspeed, keep him asleep, and to be fair, it actually becomes quite an easy battle. Yeah, level 66 Skiploom actually manages to sweep Blue's team on the first try. We have actually taught Giga Drain now because it is a powerful move. I wanted to keep it because we know we've got the Blastoise coming up on Red next. And yeah, we do sweep very, very easily on this one. Level 67, because we do get quite a few levels going through Kanto. But we beat him first time and we can move on to Red. Now, Red is very, very annoying. His Pikachu outspeeds. Our greatest stat doesn't help us here, because that Pikachu is a lot quicker. And his Thunder does big damage, so we'd even lose on the Pikachu. We had to go up all the way to level 78 before we had a chance to win against this Pikachu. And even, to be fair, for the first time in a while, the Pikachu was the blocker. As you'll see here, we Sleep Powder the Charizard and it actually works in our favour. We get it Leech Seed, and we can start returning to actually take off some damage against it. We keep it asleep, Return gets a critical hit, and we've moved past the scariest Pokemon on his team. Espeon does do big damage with Psychic, but we managed to keep it asleep. We can use Return, do chip damage on it pretty much. It wakes up, uses Psychic, and that's not a good position to be in as we're moving into the Snorlax. The Snorlax is bulky, but there's actually a good thing about going against Snorlax when it's asleep and you've got Leech Seed. So because Snorlax has such a massive amount of HP, whenever Leech Seed hits, it recovers a lot of HP, as you can see there. After a couple of turns, we're already tanking another Body Slam without any boosts. We've got to keep it asleep, we've got to use Giga Drain, we've got to keep our HP up, and that's the only way we beat it. Next up is Venusaur, and we actually can't Leech Seed this thing because it doesn't work. So we need to keep Venusaur asleep and just work our way through returning it. And that's pretty much all you need to do. I've considered using an item there. I was just like, no, this is the Retro Brown run. We do not use items. So Blastoise is next. We Sleep Powder. We Leech Seed. And there's a scary thing about this Blastoise is because it has Blizzard. We need to keep it asleep. Otherwise, we just lose. It stays asleep. Skippy takes the win. Second try against Red. And yeah, Skippy has completed the game on her own. So let's see what time we actually finished on. We know we finished on level 78. We finished at 10 hours and 48 minutes. I'm not happy with that end time. But, you know what? Still easier to do than a Yangma run. We didn't need double team. So, yeah. Anyway, let's see what we get next week on the wheel. I need something a bit easier than this. I haven't actually, we haven't done water Pokemon for a while. Grambles first. We did Snubble recently. I'm not too sure I want to do a Gramble run yet. What's next? Octillery. Okay, you know what? I don't think I've ever used an Octillery before. That could be a good, strong contender. And last up is... Considering we've just done Lugia a few weeks ago, I'm going to go for Octillery. I think that's going to be a more interesting run. Anyway, if you got to this point in the video, please like, share, subscribe, you legends. And we'll see you next week for another video. Take care.